Welcome back, everybody. Um, I was in a little bit of a video making mood, so I figured I would touch on a topic that's pretty difficult for MCS people or MCAS people, and it breaks a lot of families up. This is a video request by Miss Lopez. So I'm going to answer it the best way that I know how with my knowledge and experience of multiple chemical sensitivity. The question was, why do family members and loved ones find it so difficult to understand this condition? I'm going to tell you, it's a tough one. It's going to be this is going to be cold. I mean, it's just the answer is cold to it. I mean, I don't want to ramble on, but I got to warm up to where this is going to help some people, not discourage. But here's the cold hard truth. People don't understand multiple chemical sensitivity. They don't get it. They're not going to get it unless they have it. They're not going to understand it because it encompasses such a large amount of issues that the mainstream medical community they don't acknowledge. They don't want to acknowledge it because they don't know how to deal with it. The level of sensitivity, as I've told people before, it defies logic, really, because it's really a condition that it shouldn't even exist, because you got cavemen lived in caves, had mold in it. You had prehistoric man living outside. That's the best way I can sum it up. Is they're not going to get it. They're not going to get it. They won't get it. And unless you experience multiple chemical sensitivity or mold illness or whatever firsthand, it's just going to be unexplainable to them. I do know this much. With the multiple chemical sensitivity, it's I've done the best I possibly can, but let's do some role reversal. I think this would be the best way to dig into this question. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes and you're trying to understand it. Think about your life before you had multiple chemical sensitivity. Would you even understand it yourself? Would you even want a family member to get it because it's so bad? I like to describe it as cold. It's just, they think, a loved one or a spouse, or, they're like, you just put a mask on and it'll be okay. But, when you're this bad, you can react to the mask. You wear it too much, you can react to it. If you, let's just say, for instance, your skin, you get so sensitive, your skin starts absorbing the chemicals that you're working around. That can add to your chemical load. Functional medicine's explained to me, that just being in an environment, even with the mask and stuff, You know, it's adding the, like I said, the chemical load, but it's like describing colors to a blind person. You know, it's not it's not an easy task. It breaks up a lot of families, and there's a lot of divorces and a lot of people. You find out, you know, they won't stick by you when, you know, things get, you know, just they think you're hypochondriac. You know, they think that you're being too afraid of things. But that's not what's driving it. You know, you're literally, when you're going in an environment, you know, your lungs is burning, or you're, you know, just suffering, you know, some kind of adverse uh, reaction or whatever. You know, your face starts swelling up. Some people's dermal, mine's respiratory, so mine just looks like a cough. It's not a normal cough. So it's just the best way I can explain it without hurting feelings is 90% of the time, spouses is not going to get it. Family's not going to get it. I've talked to so many MCS people that's had to take on this task by themselves because their family don't get it. It is very hurtful, but I also can see, or they somewhat get it, but they're still kind of little, you know, they still got some doubt. But just think of it as if it was the other way around, would you really understand it? And the answer is going to be no. You know, when you tell someone that your detergent's making me sick, or your clothes, or your shampoo, or something, and the odd part about MCS is it's, you know, my own set of MCS is pretty fast. So, you know, I had pretty much no chemical sensitivity, and within a matter of 3 or 4 months, I was pretty well full-blown chemical sensitive. So it wasn't a slow build-up. It wasn't slowly things that I got sensitive to. It was just like bam, overnight. And luckily, I don't have the uh, electrical sensitivity. I hope that I never get the electrical sensitivity. So I don't even understand it, not 100%. You know, I use Blue Shield, and a friend of mine has a Healy, and he lets me use it, and it helps me out. But you know, the EMF sensitivities, I don't get them. I don't understand them. I mean, I get like a headache around Wi-Fi and stuff, but the condition is very real, and basically, after you have these conditions for, you know, I spent probably the first year in denial. I was the one actually against the diagnosis. I was early on, you know, Dr. Rogotsky, who was my ENT, said that it's likely you have multiple chemical sensitivity. And I was the one against that diagnosis because my onset of my sensitivities was so quick that I didn't agree with it. I said, that don't sound like me. But when I actually started researching it, looking into it, I was like, okay, well, these people just sound a whole lot like me. And because I had a wide range of sensitivities, you know, the mold and chemicals and perfumes and all that stuff. But mine was all respiratory, so I thought it was just raw lungs. But my lungs wasn't raw. It was just terribly inflamed from the reactions I was having, the mast cell reactions or chemical reactions, whatever you want to call it. But so we touched base a little bit on that, but and a lot of, you know, the difficult part for us, a lot of it's invisible. So people, they judge it because they don't understand it, and people judge things they don't understand, and it's not It's not something, you know, your coworkers is going to get if you're still working. You know, it's just, it's terrible. I mean, it's absolutely terrible is the best way I can describe it. But luckily, my family's getting it, you know, a little bit. You know, I understand a little bit by little bit. But for that first year I was in denial, then, you know, then I spent a year trying to convince people around me about it, and eventually hit a point to where you don't care who you convince. You know that this is what you have, and you know this is what makes you feel better. And eventually you hit that point where you don't care. Like, I don't care who believes me. I don't care who believes it, who don't believe it. Uh, because at the end of the day, you got to take care of yourself, and that's the most important thing. Is if you gotta sleep outside, if you gotta sleep in your car, you know, if you gotta run halfway across the country and go live in the desert, if that's what you absolutely have to do, then do it. You know, it's you have to do for yourself. If you spend your whole life trying to convince other people about the condition, you're spinning your wheels. And then when you start doing your thing, people say, okay, it's a narrative to this. You know, that's the way you got to think about when it comes to, you know, the cold hard truth. Uh, for why, you know, it can be so hurtful with chemical sensitivity. You know, it's the same way with peanut allergies. You know, it took 20 years for society, you know, to kind of understand peanut allergies. You know, when I first had peanut allergies as a child, is all the time it seemed like, you know, a family member or something who's trying to feed you peanuts, or, you know, a non-close, you know, person, you know, or not a person that's not an immediate family member, you know, try to feed you peanuts, something like that. And you say, I got a peanut allergy. Well, a little bit won't hurt you. You'll be okay. And that's kind of the analogy with multiple chemical sensitivity. I think, well, you know, a little bit of hairspray is not going to do anything, or a little bit of, you know, a little bit of cologne, you know, it'll be okay. But when you're this sensitive and you got this much chemical load, that one little thing, that's a big setback. 3 days or a week, and they don't get that. So the analogy I use is when you say, well, to a peanut allergy sufferer like myself, a little bit won't hurt you. that ain't the case with multiple chemical sensitivity, because that's what they think in their mind. They think, well, a little bit, and especially the older generation kills me, because they're, you know, they got it in their mind, you know, to like, uh, there was one old guy, I forgot who his name was, but he was in a Walmart store. No, it was a dollar store. It was years ago, and he asked my mom. He said, "Why is he out of school?" Said the reason why he's out of school, he's got peanut allergies. He said, "Well, a little bit won't hurt him," or something like that. They grew up with that. They grew up in that generation before a lot of this stuff was starting. You know, this is for vaccines and uh, you know, food additives, processed, and all that. So food allergies and stuff is, you know, pretty much unheard of. You know, back then, you know, there was a few, you know, like the lady that made goldfish crackers. I believe it was her son had peanut allergy. That's how she actually developed goldfish crackers. Was she was trying to come up with things that he could eat to add things to his diet. So, you know, it's just the uneducated uh, ones. You know, you just gotta look over those. It's kind of like explaining. I hate to use, you know, analogies that, you know, may offend somebody, but You know, there's people out there that believes we didn't go to the moon, you know, so if you're an MCS person versus a non-MCS person, it's like convincing that non-MCS person, if they was a believer that we didn't go to the moon, it's like trying to convince them that we did. It's just, if they seen it on film and they seen them do it, and they know it's mirrors up there that shows that we did go to the moon, if they still don't believe it, they're not going to believe it. So my biggest advice with the video request is don't worry what others think. I know it's difficult living with other people with the condition. Just do the best you can do with what you have. You know, sleeping in the car is not always ideal. That's what I'm doing right now. But it does give my body, you know, pretty good breaks from, you know, being around chemicals. Because luckily, the whole time I've owned a car, uh, I've never sprayed anything in it other than hydrogen peroxide. I've never used anything harsh in it. I think I used Armor All in it a few times after I bought it for the dash and stuff, but that's not been used in it for years. So, but but like I said, it's cold. Been there, done that. A lot of MCS people been there, done that. Seen a lot of families go like that because of the MCS, and they don't understand it. And you know, maybe in 20 years, how, you know, peanut allergies is accepted, you know, pretty widespread now. Maybe MCS will be understood, and it'll be. I hope it's not widespread, but if it is, since it is being more common, maybe it'll be something that's understood in 20 years, because it's a much more severe form of, you know, asthma person. As a person hits their inhaler, they get out of something, usually within minutes to a day, they're well, but, you know, a lot of smash cell people and chemical sensitive people, that's not the case. So, uh, so hopefully that helps you out, answers your questions. God bless. You have a good night. Hey everybody, if you enjoyed the content or liked the video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe. I want to get the content out, and I want to help as many people as I possibly can going through these terrible conditions. So if you would, at the very least, please do that. Y'all have a great one, and God bless. Peace.